I had a 50 cents. And the same cousin, he had a 1 rand on him. I convinced him that because this one is bigger, the 50 cents is bigger than a 1 rand. I convinced him to swap and I wanted him to have more than me. So he gave me the 1 rand and he accepted the 50 cents. Now DA thinks they're going to negotiate with us and think Bella NHI and Expropriation Act is the same size as the 2%. You don't negotiate like that, dog.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the Turn podcast.
Am I allowed to swear in here?
In Sweden.
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start them becoming indoctrinated on me.
Hi guys, it's Emilio Tobias here with the On the Contrary podcast. It's been about 2 months now since budgets and stuff got postponed, or 6 weeks. And we've been trying to figure out, yes, 2% sounds very little, 0.5% sounds less, but it seems to be a big deal and seems to be like a talking point, an argument point, and it's the stick in the sand for us to be able to figure out who's who and who has whose best interest at heart. And there's all these political parties who are attacking each other to try and get points for the next election, or to try and break up the GNU, or to try and keep the GNU together. It's all a mess. It's all a mess, but I think I've figured it out. I've watched a couple of videos. I've Googled a couple of things. Google is nice now, because Google uses AI to try and answer things for you now. It learns the stuff, it reads the acts, it reads the procedures, it reads all those things, it reads the policies and tries to explain to you. And if you can either get the explanation or just go check nicely. That's what the research is now. So not an expert, I'm just proficient with Google, I would like to think. Now, here's the story. So, ANC, while people are drafting, because throughout the year you are drafting and figuring out, or at least from late in the year, you start to figure out what budget you're going to need for the next year. So departments and provinces put together budgets and then they submit to the Department of Finance, and then they're going to tell in the budget speech more or less what the framework is or what the budget priorities are, right? For the following financial year, because February is like the end of the financial year. Then in there they saw that, okay, cool, we want to add these things, we want to do this, we want to do this. But if we want to do all these things, our budget's going to be short. So I think like the budget has like 2 parts to it, where we're going to figure out how to spend money, and then we need to figure out how to generate or collect money. Now, 2 of the biggest ways the government collects money is with your personal income tax, and then secondly, with VAT. And I think they say, like, Google says VAT takes about 30% of the stuff. Yeah, I hope I'm right, man. Or else, like, the video's over and it's time to move on, because the rest is not going to make sense. Now, they realize that we need to bring in more money. And the suggestion is, now, here's the part that people don't talk about, which might be worse than a VAT increase. They say, okay, cool, let's increase VAT by 2%, from 15 to 17%. Nah. I don't think they meant 2% or 15%. So, from 15 to 17. They show more or less the government collects like 1.7 trillion from VAT alone. There's another issue. If you belong to a tax bracket, there's the starts in the beginning of the bracket and the end of the bracket, and then obviously when you move up a bracket you end up paying a little bit more, not only in like actual money, but you pay more in like percentage. Your percentage goes up, and there's like a slanted scale of how these things work. Now, because you've been getting raises every year, and it's not even a raise because you did anything special, it's just like a raise for inflation, where there's like a 3% raise or 5%, 7% raise at work. Now, sometimes because the tax brackets are staying the same, you might jump into a new bracket. So if the next bracket is like 1,001 rand and you've been earning 995,000 or 995 rand, let's keep it small numbers. The next bracket is 1,001 rand. You've been earning 999. Because of tax, let's say they take about 200 rand from the tax, so you're taking home like 800 rand or 799. If you get now a 5% increase, and at that rate it's like 50 rand, now you're making 1,050 rand. Because you've jumped into a new bracket, you now have to pay 300 rand tax. Now you're coming away with 699 instead of 799. That will affect you way more than that. That's not for people who are working. If you're not working or you're earning less than 70,000 rand a year, you're not paying tax anyway. It might not do anything. Or you might find you weren't paying tax. Oh, better example. You weren't paying tax, then all of a sudden you get an increase that shoots you over into a tax bracket. Now you're paying tax when you weren't paying tax before. That's rough. That's a big issue that people must look at. And that thing apparently is on the negotiating table on adjustments to the tax brackets. We should be a bigger debate than that. And I'll explain why I think so. Now, ANC says we need 2% extra on the VAT. It will help us do all these extra things. Everyone, all the political parties in the GNU. And I think even Parliament discussions, because Parliament also has like a say in passing that thing. But GNU makes up most of the Parliament, so it's kind of more important that they agree inside there. And if someone like the DA doesn't agree, then ANC can go look at the rest of the Parliament to see if they'll be willing to agree. But everyone says, no, we're not going to do 2%. There are these fights. So I saw a couple of interviews. I saw Gayton Mckenzie's live, which is like, gives me a lot of context for this thing. And the thing about Gayton Mckenzie's lives are what Julius Malema's press conferences used to be. I used to watch every single EFF press conference, and whenever someone said something misinformed about EFF, I would tell them, go and watch this thing, give yourself an hour or two, watch the whole thing. I promise you, you might be an EFF supporter when you are done with this. Now, since the election, EFF's press conference haven't been as fire as they used to be, I have to admit. Gayton's lives though, Gayton's lives, yeah, bruh. Crazy. So, some of this I'm getting from there, some of this I'm getting like from the interviews with Sizwe, they did in Parliament with some of the different political leaders there. So, no one wants to do 2%. They agree too much, it's anti-poor, it's anti-this, that, and the other. Now, eventually ANC says, okay, it's fine. Let's do 0.5. But also, guys, you must remember, we're adding 0.5, because these are the additional things that we want to do that we've been unable to do for the longest time. Employing more teachers, employing more policemen and police officers, building 4 hospitals, I think. So there's a couple of these pro-poor projects, infrastructure development, pro-poor, pro-economic stimulation, get things moving, get things going. So a lot of those things have been added to the budget, which is the reason why the government needs to make sure that there's more money. So we need to collect more, whether it's tax, whether it's VAT. Sharp. So some parties get on board and say, okay, cool, we're happy 0.5 is better than 2. 0.5% is better than 2. And we're happy that you are going to be focusing more on this, that. Some DA ministers also at this point are being favored. Their departments are being favored in this budget, which makes there to be a necessity to add the VAT. Sharp. Now, the thing I want to talk about, what each party voted and where the issues might be, because I think the thing that I figured out is that this thing is not supposed to make sense. It's not about the VAT. Because apparently, DA said they are willing to accept the 2%. Nah. DA said, we are willing to accept the 2% VAT, we'll vote with you. But you must scrap Bella Bill, NHI Bill, expropriation. No, acts. These are all acts. The Bella Act, NHI Act, and Expropriation Act. An act is a law. Nah. The bill is a draft before it's signed into education. Now, DA says, okay, if you scrap those 3, we'll give you 2%. And it's like, no, dog. Like the funny thing about DA arrogance, né? DA comes, né, and negotiates with not the proper chips in the hand, in the pocket. They don't have the proper cards to negotiate. Or you negotiate for this year, but what you are bringing is like, no, bro, it's not going to work for anybody, dog. That's not going to work for anyone. Like, bro, we can let her leave the whole 2%. Like, dear reminds me, we used to play this game with my small cousins. Me and my older cousin, we found a magic company coin, which looks like money if you didn't know anything. Magic company, the arcade coins that you play games with and you can win tokens and stuff. So we had the magic company coin. And we gave my small cousin and said, hey man, here's money. This is more than a 5 rand. Go and buy. Go to the tuck shop and go buy. Let's see what happens. Yo. Homie went innocent. Now DA thinks the ANC or the rest of the GNU is that child. No, here's a better example. I had a 50 cents. And the same cousin, he had a 1 rand on him. I convinced him that because this one is bigger, the 50 cents is bigger than a 1 rand. I convinced him to swap and I wanted him to have more than me. So he gave me the 1 rand and he accepted the 50 cents. Now DA thinks they're going to negotiate with us and think Bella, NHI and Expropriation Act is the same size as the 2%. You don't negotiate like that, dog. Like the amount of confidence that you need to have to vote or the confidence you need to negotiate like that, bro. And then you say it's my way or the highway. You don't even negotiate knowing that you are number 2. You're not the leader of the negotiation. So that's DA's story. Now the flop is with DA. They failed so hard in the negotiation and it probably was told to them, nah guys, it's not going to work. We're going to carry on to 2%. I think it was everyone else that managed to negotiate them down from 2% to 0.5%. Now it's too late. Now you're a sore loser. You're going to ravage this thing no matter what. You're going to start I don't know what else they did for Cyril's thing to be leaked. Cyril, the president's feedback to ANC people on how DA is handling this thing and how they've put themselves in a corner that they can't get out of. They've given, it's those people that says, are moving to Australia if ANC come into power. Those people that said we're moving to another country if Donald Trump wins. They publicly negotiate themselves out of, I don't even know what to say. Robert De Niro said he's going to leave America. He's still there. He's still there. He just shouldn't have said, yes, disagree with Trump and all those things. I'm ashamed. Rosie O'Donnell, sorry to go into Trump now. Rosie O'Donnell apparently is not having a good time. And she left the country because her child is identifies with different things. Now, DAs put themselves in a corner. Now they're going to have to lick their paws or their tails. I don't know what the phrases are, but they've now clearly lost. I'm going to need to just sit there and be embarrassed. And EFF, cool. EFF still against any increase for VAT, even though someone like Action SA has said, yes, the VAT increase is unfortunate and will affect poor people in this way. And they've accepted the 0.5, knowing that extra budget has been allocated to address bigger issues or big issues, like hospitals, police, hiring more nurses, and then also there's certain services like that doesn't have to pay VAT that are like zero VAT now, like I think transport, I think some medical services, certain foods, beans and rice and those types of things. There's now zero VAT on those things now, which should alleviate some of the poverty. And maybe the VAT is just making extra VAT on people buying cars, where that 0.5% is like thousands of rands. Sharp. I think EFF should be or is a little bit fine with the 0.5. I think deep down they understand it. But because of politics, they need to exaggerate this thing so much. No, but that also doesn't make sense. Because they might join DA. They might join DA in their case to reverse that whole thing, which in that case would make DA win and make DA stay. Because I was thinking they're doing this to encourage DA in a clever way to leave the GNU and break up the GNU. But yeah, that logic also doesn't make sense. Okay, maybe EFF has another plan. PA, quite obviously, they're like, okay, cool. We're happy to be here. We know you don't need us. We're not a deal maker. We have no cards. We have no cards in this thing, so we'll now be fine. Fine, yeah, do what you want. We're against it, but we don't have the confidence of DA to just play cards that we don't have. Yeah, man. The 0.5% VAT, I think it's a smokescreen for some bigger things. Because apparently DA also tried to sneak in other things into the bill that people are like, nah, we don't want that. Except now for the removal of those acts. But anyway, very interesting. Very interesting. But I don't think it's as big of a deal as what they're making it, to be quite honest. So, there's politics, man. Let's figure out what's going on. I'm not a political analyst. I'm just saying what I see. I disagree that VAT is as big of an issue. I think the bigger issue is adjusting the tax bracket so that people don't jump into new brackets and end up earning less money than what they did before. Personal income tax. Let's talk about that one. Let's fix that one. I believe in the next month or so, there's still other budget activities. If now it doesn't get scrapped from the court, there is still other processes that need to follow before the budget is like finalized. And then we will see if they'll adjust this, that, and the other. Oh, the thing I need to talk about. Also, ANC. If you are willing to increase the VAT by 0.5. I think I calculated that it would be an estimated 180 billion. Okay, that is a lot of money. There will be 180 billion in additional revenue. Is that enough to make a real difference in many things? Yeah, probably. You can build a couple of hospitals with a 180 billion. Okay. No, I get it, man. I think I'm okay with the 0.5% for now. I think I'm okay with it. Not because I can afford it. It's not like I can afford it, but it's gonna benefit a lot more people than the ones that it's affecting badly. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool. A sack of milli meal. Okay, milli meal is not rated. It's not gonna. How's it gonna affect the poorest of the poor, man? Because it's like beans, there's milli meal, there's milk, eggs, all those things have now no VAT, bruh. So, no, man, it's not gonna affect them. It's gonna affect the upper, lower class, to the middle class, to the upper class people. It's not, I don't. They're fighting for no reason. They is making a noise. But I'm glad they're doing it. Let's fight like this inside the camp. DA, we want to fight with you like this. Don't go outside. Let's fight here. We got two things. Take them to court. Let's fight. Let's argue. Let's debate. Let's keep it here. Let's deal with our problems ourselves. Well done, DA. Keep doing what you're doing. But you're behaving like an opposition. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the Turn podcast.
Am I allowed to swear in here?
In Sweden,
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start them becoming indoctrinated.
your view on me.